Welcome in to the Baylor postgame show here on SicEm 365 Sports. Paul Catalina, Levi Caraway, Jacob Wilson, Jack McKenzie in studio, and a special guest who doesn't want to be identified, but let's just say she's here and she's happy that Kansas won the game over Duke. But Baylor fights their way to a 31-24 win over Iowa State at Ames, winning at Ames for the first time since 2016, proving a lot of us wrong. A lot of us on the website picked Iowa State to win by 3, and the way the game was going early on, it kind of looked like it was going to come down either that way. It was going to be a one-score game. It was a one-score game, but Levi, we'll start with you. And I just think that we saw some things in this game that Baylor has not done yet. Stretch the field, get creative in the passing game. They're able to do it against a really good Iowa State defense, and that was the difference in the game. Plus, a couple of interceptions hadn't happened this year either.
There were a lot of positives to take away today. A lot of questions answered. I don't want to say everything's answered because it's only week 1 in Big 12 play, but the interceptions were great. Defense was great. Run game was solid on the road. Passing game was awesome. I loved going empty and letting Shapen just do what he's best at, which is just getting the ball downfield and distributing. So it was awesome to see that.
Blake Shapen today looked like the Blake Shapen we saw at times last year, especially early on. Looked like the Blake Shapen Jacob in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, he looked poised. He looked like we hoped that he would look, and Baylor came out and put on a show of offense and passing specifically that we haven't really seen this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was good. 254-339-1122. Call us, text us, get on the chat room. Let us know what you thought of the game. Try and prove me wrong. I have a very sad theory that when Baylor fans win a game, they don't want to talk about it all that much. But when they lose, they are ripe to complain. Like an old man sending back soup at a deli. So it's, I think I'd like to hear some positive calls and some positive things here tonight on the show, or this afternoon on the show. Things you like, things you maybe even didn't like. There are, plenty of things that make you nervous sometimes, but I do think overall this is good for everybody across the board. The defense played in a hostile environment, had to deal with an offense that has some playmakers. They kept the run game in check. Look, Iowa State's last touchdown was an amazing play by two guys. Lorando Johnson running down there and making that play, and Jaheim Brock for actually being able to recover that fumble before any of his body touched out of bounds.
Yeah.
And he's not little. Like, this wasn't – like, if it was Squirrel Williams doing that, I would have been impressed, but less so. Jaheim Brock is a big dude, like big thighs, and somehow he made that play. So it was a crazy game. I also think if any single one of you calls up or says anything about the officiating, thank Santa Claus for your Christmas gifts early in that game, because that changed momentum.
Yeah, I saw people complaining on the boards about, that first touchdown was clearly a touchdown. The targeting was horrible. I think there's another one that was really bad too, but yeah, Baylor needs to be thankful right there.
Gavin Byers tripped his own player and got it blamed on the defender, so that was pretty egregious as well. So this was an officiating crew that does not like personal fouls, the appearance of personal fouls, thoughts about personal fouls. If you drew a doodle of a personal foul, I'm sure they're going to throw something on that. I don't know. It was kind of strange, but those calls, for the most part, until the very end of the game, benefited Baylor.
Oh yeah, and I was actually nervous after that personal foul that you're referring to that led Baylor to their second touchdown, because I don't think they earned that drive, because I think they were 2 for 6 on third down at that point, and they just did not look like they were quite in sync just yet at that point. And like I told you, ball don't lie. It's not a quantifiable metric, but I believe in it because what goes around comes around whenever you get bailed out by the referees, and the Bears were lucky that they were able to capitalize on that as opposed to squandering it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there were just so many different things going on there when it came to the officials. Got our first call, Stephen from Virginia. Not surprised. Steven, good to hear from you.
Hey, guys. It's good to hear from you all after a win. I was really impressed with Richard Reese. I was really impressed with the way the guys handled getting penalties in their favor. I was really impressed that we got turnovers, and this is the kind of win on the road that has me believing in the Baylor Bears as a Big 12 title contender again. And I was not that way after BYU. I thought the wide receivers really stepped up today, and I really think, across the board, everyone stepped up. But it's a great win for Baylor, and really great to win on the road because we haven't always done that, and especially after BYU, where the moment looked maybe a little too big, it was great to see the guys settle in and play a great game. So I'm glad to call into the show after a win.
Yeah. Stephen, thank you for your call, 254-339-1122. Let's go to the Riverbend text line, guys, from the Street 361. Talk about that pass rush, especially like Bryson Jackson's second sack as he swatted away the OT's hand as if to say, get out of here with that weak attempt. It's a very Baylor way to say that. And he just blew up Decker's Sick'em. That's from the 361.
Bryson played great.
Yeah.
He played great.
Yeah, he was boogieing today, and he's one of the faster dudes on that defense, and really played well. They rushed the passer well on defense today, and more importantly, they had 2 interceptions, something they have not done this year. Now, if you told me that they don't have any interceptions against Jaron Hall and BYU, yeah, I buy that. He's really good. But no interceptions against Albany or Texas State, that to me was really surprising, and really not that many turnovers created. So creating 2 today kind of gets them back on track of what they were last year, where they were creating 2 a game.
Today feels like everything it should be heading into like the meat of the schedule with Oklahoma State coming next weekend. Like the defense, there's a lot of momentum, a lot of positives the game from today. And yeah, like when you're forcing 2 interceptions a game, that is a lot. There's a lot of good energy that's going to be heading into next week.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Okay, from the 213. Oh, well, he's just talking to Smokey. Never mind. Scotty B, the Baylor King, good win today, and glad to see the passing game some. With that being said, we need to improve on third down on offense and defense. Pumped up as Ric Flair right now. Thank you, Scotty B, on that. Yeah, there are some third downs where
a little conservative play calling.
Yeah, but also I think some of that is you're in Ames.
Yeah.
Like you just have to keep it in the fairway a little bit and don't want to take too many chances. That being said, when it comes to taking chances, Gavin Holmes was as wide open as a human being could be today on a gadget play. I try to say gadget plays. Art Briles didn't like the term trick plays because he thought all plays were designed to trick you, which kind of does make sense. Yeah. But on the that little flea flicker end around hybrid that they did,
I haven't seen that work in a long time.
Iowa State probably didn't even think that was something that people do. But Gavin Holmes, I told Jacob and Jack, we were in here watching the game. I said, hey, he dropped that ball, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never going to be in his life.
Yeah.
On the schoolyard, he has never been that alone. And he's an athlete. Like, he's never run away from that people that much. Yeah.
I also love that little play to Doyle on the 3rd and 1 on the goal line. That was super cool to see. And then I couldn't help but think that is just the most Iowa thing ever to put Doyle in he's from Iowa, give him the fullback little sneak out in the touchdown. That was awesome.
Yeah, and they've shown that he can be a weapon at the goal line the past 2 years. And frankly, this is a team that needs weapons wherever they can get them. And look, even if he becomes a decoy, that's something that they have in their back pocket whenever they can use it with Dylan Doyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dylan Doyle got in the act today, and Jack and I had a text, and I said he should just never come off the field ever. Every time he's on the field, good things happen. So, let's see, from the 225, fantastic win and totally changed my outlook of the team after the BYU loss. I don't know if it hasn't changed my outlook of this team. It leans me in the more positive direction of this week. I was kind of thinking, well, this game could turn the season a different direction. If they don't win a big game on the road here, they've got a whole bunch more to go over in tough places that they have not won a lot or at all.
Yeah, I was saying earlier this week, if they don't win this game on the road, which games are they going to win on the road? We hear ad nauseum the entire week about how Baylor struggles on the road, but it doesn't get easier going forward. And so it says something about your schedule when Ames is arguably the easiest road contest that you have.
Yeah, because they've never won in Morgantown. They've only won in Norman a couple times. maybe just
And Lubbock's not easy either.
Lubbock's not easy. You know, they have more wins there than the other places they're going to be, but their record in Lubbock isn't great. Their record in Austin isn't great. And those are the places they have to go for the rest of the year. And I think they do have to also, don't they have to go to Kansas?
No, that's
homecoming.
That's a homecoming game.
That's homecoming.
Yeah, we thought that was going to be an easy game.
The Sunflower Showdown is the Sunflower State is both here, right?
Yeah.
Kansas and Kansas State both here.
Correct.
So yeah. Now they don't have an easy homecoming either.
Yeah.
Kansas is 4-0 after beating Duke 35-27 today. Today is the first game of the season where Baylor looks like the Baylor we expected them to be, where they fought through adversity in the running game. They fought through things on defense. They created turnovers. Blake Shapen was able to look like Blake Shapen. Offensive line, even down 2 starters, played pretty darn well. So those things all looked good today. Having Ben Sims back, I think, was huge. Having Monterey Baldwin, even though he wasn't as involved in the game, I think just makes them feel more complete.
Thought of him being there.
Hal Presley made a great catch. You know, there were a lot of positives.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget Monterey Baldwin on that. I believe it was first drive. He dropped an easy touchdown.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was still early on. So I thought this was supposed to be the guy that made plays. And so it was good to see them, go for it on 4th down and find Ben Sims.
Yeah. Matt in D.C. We'll take this call. We'll take our first break. You are on the postgame show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Wow, what a win. I think, like y'all were saying, that's the Baylor team we all expected to see. And I think if we come out with that type of intensity and execution, we should have a chance to win every game. Not saying we will, but show up like that. I mean, offense play call opened up. Love seeing all the new, people catching the ball finally, throwing it downfield. My only, not even like something bad, but I hate when we have the ball in the second half going into the halftime with 5 minutes left. We have got to be able to execute that 5-minute offense I see every weekend in the NFL. 5 minutes, you have the lead. Even if you don't score, don't give them the ball back. We kind of did it in the fourth quarter where we took 5 minutes off. They still got the ball back. But what we did in the fourth quarter, I would like to see later in the first half of the game going forward. And then on that 3rd and 1 earlier, I think if we get that, if we run it, we probably get it and score, go up 24-10. But other than that, great ball game, great execution. I think we got that road monkey off our back. Even if there is one, we kind of let everything go, and I think we're going to be a lot more relaxed on the road. Thank y'all for the call.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah, I do. I can't state enough how important it is for them to get a road win in a hostile environment because last year they had 2 really, really hostile environments they went to. TCU is always going to be hostile when they go there because these 2 schools hate each other. Yeah. And Oklahoma State has those stupid paddles that will just drive you insane. And it affected Baylor last year. They lost that game. They lost to TCU in hostile situations. And then, true road hostile environment in Provo lost that game. So that was 3 in a row. They won 2 neutral sites. They won in Jerry World, and they won at the Sugar Bowl. But a true hostile road environment, they hadn't really done that yet. And they got – like they were at Kansas and at Kansas State last year, which those teams, by the time they played them, weren't,
And Skylar Thompson.
No, they weren't.
They weren't what they were. So this year, I mean, everything turns around. Yeah, Skylar Thompson got hurt. So it was completely different than what they'll see this year. So this was important because Morgantown's coming up in a couple weeks, and they have never won there, ever, including a really good team playing a really average West Virginia team in a year that Baylor should have won the Big 12.
Yeah.
So, or been in the college football playoff that kept them out.
Yeah.
So
I think today's win you don't look at the schedule ahead of time, but it makes it feel like Morgantown is more doable. It makes it feel like Lubbock's more doable. I mean, Austin and OU, you never know, but at least with those 2 games, it doesn't feel like all the pressure's on.
Well, look, Oklahoma, you're going to have to really.
I think this Oklahoma team is very, very good.
Yeah.
I am not too optimistic right now, even after this win, about Baylor's outlook. But you had to bring up the Oak State paddles, taking me flashbacks to the fraternity house days.
Oh, no. All right, let's take a break right here. When we come back, more calls, more chat, more text, 254-339-1122. This is the Baylor Postgame Show, 365 Sports. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears.
TFNB, your bank for life, is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Find out why more Central Texas are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB, your bank for life. Member FDIC.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. Nachos and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Cars priced right both day and night. Average your car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue. Average your car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room. Average your car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust. Average your car in Waco, Texas.
This is the Baylor Postgame Show on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, TFNB, your bank for life, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, Three Nations Brewing Company, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, Edward Jones Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, and Bubba's 33.
Welcome back to the Baylor Post Game Show, 254-339-1122. Call, text, get it in the chat room on YouTube. Let's see. Let's go into the chat a little bit. FSU Grad 03 said, go Knowles Poly. That has nothing to do with what they're doing. I just wanted to say it. That's probably somebody I knew because that's what they used to call me in college. Let's see. Darling Deb, Reese needs to work on making some cuts. He seems to keep running towards the sidelines and missing some holes. I could be wrong, though, although he did have a pretty good game.
I thought he played great
today. Let's see. There's a lot here. You guys have been going on. So the wide receiver need to get better separation from the DBs. Yeah, but I think we saw that today, guys. Yeah. So I think we saw a little bit of that today. And part of that's probably just going to come with experience and learning how to run those routes and Blake Shippen getting comfortable with them in game situations. We saw a little bit of that today. Iowa State's defense is good. It was not as good as I thought it was going to be, though. Baylor was able to exploit
They didn't really
them
get that big of a pass rush as much as I thought they would. That Hal Presley catch was fantastic. Ben Sims and Drake Dabney both played great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were always open. Didn't drop the balls. I thought the play calling today was really, really good. in comparison to BYU.
Yeah. Ben Sims changes the offense, though, a great deal because I think, Jacob, he makes Blake Shapen very, very comfortable.
Yeah, you noticed later on in the game that they started to kind of shadow Ben Sims a little bit because he's the Jason Witten of this team. Even when the offense is not clicking, he's the one guy that you think maybe they can go to him and be successful. But
yeah. Let's see. We got somebody in the chat room talking about Dave Aranda to Nebraska.
Not happening.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. I'll just tell you, he's built differently. His wires are different than most everybody else, and it's not just going to be money. Because if it was just going to be money, he'd already been gone.
I would never advocate for Dave Aranda going to Lincoln, Nebraska, but imagine somebody forcing one of those corncob hats on Dave Aranda. Yeah. Just how much. How big his scowl would be if he ever donned one of those on his head.
Yeah. I think one of the things that fits Coach Aranda to Waco is this town is pretty laid back, and he is very laid back, and Lincoln, Nebraska is not.
Yeah.
No.
That's a pressure cooker the day you walk in.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to find whoever they're going to hire, and look, I think Dave Aranda could coach almost anywhere, but to be happy and fulfilled and keep coaching, there's only several other places outside of Waco where I see him going because he's a very, very, very intellectual guy. Yeah. He's not just going to be like, oh, I can do that. Some coaches have the ego, like, I can go anywhere. They're Urban Meyer. I can go anywhere and win. Oh, yeah, I can coach in the NFL. Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to do that. That's not how he works.
He's a man of faith, too. That's something to keep in mind, and I think that's what attracted him to Baylor in the first place.
Yeah, so, again, that there are things about that job that are, I think they need somebody, I think they're also to sell to their alumni, somebody who's definitely done something before. Dave Aranda's won one conference title. He's got a national championship as a defensive coordinator. But I think that resume, especially given the big hires that were made around the country last year, Miami, USC, Notre Dame, LSU, stuff like that. Now, Notre Dame, hired their up-and-comer from their own staff. But LSU, Miami, and USC, those three hires, I think you can probably see what Nebraska's probably going to try and do.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere in there. Although Lance Leipold wouldn't shock me because he's got Cornhusker roots there. So they but anyway, back to the game today. And we got a call. I do think that if they can keep this up and replicate this, which is what they did last year, once they got that first win where they felt like themselves, then they went on a streak. I think this is huge for that because they looked like the Baylor team last year. They looked like this is the RVO offense. They looked, the defense was creating turnovers and getting the quarterback.
And playing green, as Coach Aranda likes to say.
Exactly. Yeah, they were doing all that today.
Yeah, defense looked good. And one thing I noticed about Hunter Deckers is ceiling seems a little bit higher with Deckers than it did with Brock Purdy. But he missed some easy throws. Maybe it was credit to Baylor's defense, but when you miss those running back swing passes, it makes me think, all right, he's got some stuff to tighten up here, and so I'm very curious to see what Hunter Deckers does going forward.
Yeah, I think he did hear the pitter-patter of little feet behind him a lot of times, even though it wasn't there, because they did force him, even not sacking him. They got in the backfield and forced him off of his base a lot. He threw off his back foot a ton today, which we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, pitter-patter, let's get at her.
They really started to kind of mix up the blitz packages today, too, that they didn't show in those first three games.
Yeah. Let's see. Stan from Plano. Thanks for your call. You're on the postgame show.
Hi, this is Stan. I just wanted to comment. I think they did a great job at halftime making adjustments in the run game because it seemed like in the first half they were trying to bounce too many of the runs outside. In the second half, it was one cut and go, and we started pounding the rock at them. Defense, same thing. We made adjustments. We started getting after Deckers in the second half, making him rush his throws, sacking him. But I am concerned about some of our secondary tackling. I mean, there was one play, the guy was running free down the sideline. We couldn't even push him out of bounds. That Iowa State got two easy drives there at the end of the game that we need to shore that up. But thanks. I'll listen to your comment.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I agree. And one of the things about this team that's that's probably not going to change until at least later in the year is that secondary is going to make some mistakes.
Yeah.
They are, if they're raw, if they brought them to you in a restaurant, you'd have to send it back. I mean, they need some more. They need some more time in the oven. So I think those things are going to maybe continue to happen. But the front seven is really good when everybody's there. And Dylan Doyle the whole game today, you saw how much of a difference that made.
Big time.
One half, like the end of the game against BYU and the half against Texas State without him, they just looked a little bit out of focus, off kilter. And here he is back, and the defense for the most part looked really good. And they're going to have some breakdowns in the secondary, but that's a young secondary, Jacob.
AJ McCarty had a few missed tackles.
Yeah, and frankly, I think some of the interceptions that Baylor got, I mean, credit to them. It was Christian Morgan and Devin Neal, correct? Credit to hauling those in. But I thought Deckers kind of sailed them, and I wouldn't say gift, but it was right place at the right time kind of feel for those picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul Bloss from Ames, Iowa, made the trip up to I don't know what state is Iowa. Is it the corn state?
Corn.
I don't know.
The corn state?
It can't be the corn state. There's corn in a lot of places. I know they're proud of their corn, but I don't know what state Iowa is. Anyway, Paul, you are on the postgame show.
Well, first of all, it was a great victory here. It was fun to be here to see it.
Yeah. What's the atmosphere like?
Really. Well, everybody was thanking us for coming as we left. They're very nice up here as usual, but I think they were a little surprised about how strong our run defense was. That's one thing that people were talking about. They said, we just thought we could run on you all. And that just didn't happen. And I mean, it was a good game for us. I think that it was an important game to teach the team how to win again on the road. And to win by 7 when we weren't favored, I think is a big deal.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. I agree with you. That was a big one in a lot of different regards. So how long are you staying?
Leave tomorrow morning, flying out of Des Moines and coming back to Texas.
All right. Well, enjoy Iowa for the rest of the time that you're there. You already got a great.
It's much easier to enjoy it now.
Absolutely. Paul's one of our great viewers and listeners, always participating, and they're going to enjoy Ames, Iowa, and everybody who is there because that was important. Again, not since 2016 have they won at Ames, so they've had a couple trips there with not good results when it comes to any not win is not a good result. So
obviously
that's your obvious lesson of the day from me. Anything that's not a win is not good, Levi. Remember that. You're young. Sometimes you can get caught up in these things where you think there's such a thing as a moral victory.
I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, there's no moral victories. None at all. So, all right, let's take one more break here. We'll come back, wrap up the show. 254-339-1122. Call us, text us, get on that chat room. Paul Catalina, Levi Caraway, and Jacob Wilson back after this.
If you're out looking for a great selection of new cars and trucks, then shop Allen Samuels in Waco, because we have some of the best deals in Central Texas that will put you in a new vehicle and driving away with confidence. During the Labor Day sales event, you can take your pick, a new 2022 Dodge Charger or Dodge Challenger, and receive 0% for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. If you're a first responder, you get an extra $500 off your purchase. High-quality vehicles from a dealership with a hometown feel. Allen Samuels in Waco.
Did you know that Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness is a partner of the City of Waco? Did you know that we are open to the public? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers day passes to the public for only $10 a day, and we offer money-saving memberships. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers over 40 group exercise classes each week, including bar, yoga, boot camp, indoor cycling, and more. There are free weights, weight machines, TRX, rowing machines, stationary bikes, new treadmills, elliptical machines, and much more on the spacious weight room floor. Personal training available where you can be encouraged to grow. Sauna, whirlpool, pool, tanning bed, and kids club. 17 tennis courts, 8 pickleball courts, youth and adult tennis and pickleball lessons. Waco's premier experience, where you can help your mind, body, and soul. Visit our website at wacotennis.com. Call us at 254-753-7675 or visit us next to Hawaiian Falls on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears.
TFNB Your Bank for Life is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Find out why more Central Texas are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB Your Bank for Life. Member FDIC.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
This is the Baylor Postgame Show on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, TFNB, your bank for life, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, 3 Nations Brewing Company, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, Edward Jones Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, and Bubba's 33.
Welcome back, Paul, Catalina, Levi, Caraway, Jacob Wilson. Sorry, we're kind of entranced by this Clemson and Wake Forest game that's down to a 4th down in the second overtime. Clemson leading 51-45. If Wake scores and gets the 2-point conversion, they will win the game.
Let's go Demon Deacons. I think I saw somewhere that if Wake Forest wins, Baylor Oklahoma State will most likely be at night.
I think there's a good shot at that
Here
happening anyway.
Oh! Yeah.
Well, ball game. Well, the rest
Bummer.
of the ACC is not that lucky for Clemson to lose to Wake Forest, which Dabo Swinney has now continued to never do. So, never lost to Wake Forest since he's been the coach there.
This guy's mouthing off.
Yeah, his son is Brees. Anyway, 254-339-1122. Call us, text us. Let's see. From the 225, Lorando Johnson. That was it. That's the text.
He was great.
Yeah, he was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was absolutely great. And made a great play that was then countered by another great play in 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Just a crazy play. One I'll think about all the time. So.
Yeah, that was just such a strange turn of events. You had the missed tackle, and then he makes the play. But anyway, in film all week, I think the announcer said this. Coach Aranda is going to be showing that to everybody. Like, this is how you hustle.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and this is how you don't, like, it's a good, like, film room
to
thing
learn from,
because you can say, like, this is how you hustle, and this is also, on the other side, how you don't let somebody hustling, get you down.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was, man. And, then, the cliche is it's a game of inches, and it really was. How his gigantic legs did not hit the out-of-bounds chalk before he got the ball back.
Yeah, it was Don Beebe energy for me because, it's great. It's great to see your players never quit, and you can tell that comes from the coaching.
Yeah. Had Don Beebe on the show one time, and he still, it's 30 years ago, still loves talking about that play.
Yeah, Levi, do you even know who that is?
That was the Big 12 commissioner when I was little.
No, that's Dan Beebe. That was Dan Beebe. You're wrong. No, Don Beebe was and he's got a bunch of kids like Chad Beebe that plays in the NFL.
I know that name.
Yeah. Don Beebe was a really good receiver for the Bills teams that lost all the Super Bowls.
In
but
the 90s.
in the Super Bowl 27 against the Cowboys, the Cowboys were rolling to that game. Leon Lett picked up a fumble and started dancing at the Well, he probably up at the 10-yard line. And Don Beebe, who was very fast, ran him down and knocked the ball out. And Leon Lett still lives without a career touchdown because of it.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me that I was dating myself with Levi. I'm sitting up there, so I was hoping that you would at least know who I was talking about.
Yes. Well, let's
I just turned 21. So.
Let's see if the chat room respond to that. No. Let's see. I did like the refs otherwise letting the kids play. Well, I don't think they really did that.
No.
They let Baylor play a little bit. They didn't let Iowa State. Matt Campbell had every right to be as mad as he was.
Yeah, he called timeout just to tell him off.
Yeah, I mean, and he probably had to because he couldn't focus on anything else. And I think, some people might say, well, that's kind of a risky decision. If you've got something to say that's going to distract you that much or that you want them to know going forward, then you need to. Because this is why I think they need to revise the review system to where it could just be like, hey, that wasn't tripping. Yeah. No, they don't have to go look at it. Like, just have a guy up in the booth that goes, hey, pick it up.
Honestly, I think after that timeout, it kind of went even from that point on. But those first 3 calls were...
Yeah, and then, look, he had to because there's 3 calls... A very questionable targeting, an unnecessary roughness that was
not unnecessary.
Yeah, and then that tripping call, which was Gavin Byers tripping Squirrel Williams, and it got called on the defender who's number 1, whose name escapes me right now, but. Yeah, those were bad. You have to. If you're Matt Campbell, you got to call timeout and be like, "Are you guys going to do this to me all day long?" Mm-hmm. Because that's what they were doing, yeah.
And at the end of the game, they gave Iowa State that roughing the passer call against Baylor that anyone who had watched the entire game could tell. That was like, hey, sorry, we messed up. Here's a free first down on us.
Yeah, yeah, That's just nuts. All right, let's go through. We have no calls, no new texts. I guess it's run its course, guys. It's run its course.
Everybody's positive, so they don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. But they lost. If they lost by 1 to Alabama, like Texas did a couple weeks ago, there would be calls saying like, "I'm just tired of the dumb things this team does." Well, I mean, come on. Yeah, no, we can't have that. Anyway, just trying to educate the populace.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's good to call in and talk about a game afterwards. Anyway, that's gonna do it for us. Levi, final thoughts.
I think those first 3 weeks, I was kind of getting a little nervous. I mean, I didn't want to be that person, but I was like, if they're going to run the exact same offense they did with Gary Bohannon, what's the point in making the move and not playing to shape and strengths? And I know Travis and Grayson on our site was like, just wait till the Iowa State game. They'll kind of open up the playbook more. And then they did today, and that was fantastic. And I was super excited to see Blake play to his strengths like he did in the Big 12 championships.
Yeah. Jacob, final thoughts.
I think Travis might be giving you a hard time about the receivers because I know you have disagreed on the quality of the receivers that Baylor has. But when I look at these stats, Drake, no, it wasn't Drake Dabney. It was Ben Sims led with receptions with 5. And then Gavin Holmes, he had a great day, but he only had 3 receptions. I mean, you can credit that to Blake Shapen for spreading the ball around to, this is more than 10 people. But, we got to, figure out a way to get a specific weapon open and in space to get him the ball because we still don't really know who it is right now. Even though we have guys who made good plays, they weren't consistent. Iowa State's receivers, Jalen Noel and Xavier Hutchinson, combined, they had 15 catches.
Yeah.
Most of their work. And so, maybe it's good that Baylor doesn't have that one weapon because opponents can't scheme to try and stop them. But if we don't know who's going to be making the plays in the receiving game, it could potentially prove problematic down the road.
Yeah, and maybe somebody's going to step up here eventually, but going to need to next week against Oklahoma State. That is a very tough team that's coming off a bye.
But they haven't really played anybody yet. So
yeah, so we'll see. But I thought that about, and I don't know, I need to check some scores here, but I thought that about a couple teams this week, and then they kind of showed out. And that's going to do it for us. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating, texting, and getting on the chat room. I'm Paul Catalina, Levi Caraway, Jacob Wilson. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend.